Hey guys. Okay, I got some messages for you guys. I'm going to put them probably in two parts. And the first one, okay, I'm watching my little thing because it's got a timer on it. Okay, so I was teaching a hypno class this week, and something came up that I feel like is really important for the collective. A lot of things, actually. The sessions that we did, the practice sessions for the student were just incredible. Incredible, as I knew they would be. It was the right time, you guys, like coming together at that right little point in the path, okay? So all the practice sessions, just like when you're learning any new technique, are exactly what is meant for that student. So I just had such a good time. It was such a wonderful class. But so as I was teaching, the theory part of the class, Spirit reminded me of something that I think is really, really relevant right now. Okay. So some of you are familiar with the concept that you contain the divine spark. This is what makes you divine, okay? That you come from God. And because you come from God, you are indeed divine, okay? It doesn't mean we're perfect, but we have the spark. We have that creative spark, okay? And we know from all the rabbit holes and all the things that this can be used for both light or dark, okay? And has been used for light or dark. And there are 100% beings here that have misused that, right? And purposely attempted to control the narrative by controlling what the people perceived, okay? And so this came up. I'm going to tell you what came up, and then I'm going to tell you where Spirit led me and what the message is, okay? So I was going over the theory portion, started in the very beginning, and I wrote this all myself. So I'm going back and reading what I wrote, and I was like, oh my gosh. Because a lot of times I'm channeling when I'm writing, so I was like channeling from Mary Magdalene what needed to be taught for hypno, right? Like, what is it? Like, what is the mystic hypnosis, right? And then also, what is the clinical hypnosis and all the things? Well, in one of the paragraphs that I wrote, I wanted the student to understand, and I want you to understand, how quickly any person, anywhere, goes into hypnotic trance, okay? And I'm going to give you an example. If you're watching this video, within 20 seconds, you were in a state of light trance, okay? So just follow my lead for a second. And for those of you who follow my page or who are stumbling across this video now, you know how much I love humanity, how much of my heart and soul I put into helping and educating and awakening humanity. So 20 seconds of trance on a video like this would be incredible for you, right? Because the love is there and the light is there and all the good is coming through. But 20 seconds on a video that has bad intention can lead you down another path, right? And so when we were teaching the class and I'm reading what I wrote, it's so funny how Spirit does this, but I'm like, oh my God, yeah. This is the message, okay? Do you understand why the nefarious ones are trying so hard to keep your attention? Do you understand why they want you in trance, okay? That if they can get you focused on something, okay? All they need is 20 seconds, less than 20 for someone who's a deep channel. I'm a deep channel, so it's easy for me to go in trance, okay? If they can't, let's just put it like this. I'm being shown a vision, okay? They want you to think back, okay, to something you might have learned in history, okay, in traditional schooling. Say, for example, you go back to the 1700s or 1600s of what we were taught happened during that time. I'm not saying that was accurate. I'm just saying what we think happened. And you had all these Europeans, for example, coming over into the Americas, right? And they encountered a people who were living in peace, right? By themselves, with nature, very ancient civilizations, very advanced civilizations, but living a different lifestyle than what was traditional in Europe, okay? And what Spirit showed me was how these remote villages, okay, or civilizations even, it can be large civilizations, but remote meaning not connected to other cultures, okay? Living their own culture, living their own life, okay? And very, very connected to nature. Those civilizations would have had no concept or need for something like a newspaper, okay? Or anything that would circulate information among the collective, because they got all their information by connecting to the Earth grid, the Earth network, okay? The reason this is important is because I want you to think about the systems. I want you to think about why things like the news or things like newspapers or things like periodical articles got their start. Okay? Now, while it can be all fun and games and just, interesting to keep up with people, there's always duality. We live in a realm that has duality. Okay? So something can be used for light, just like social media can be used for positivity, right? And something can be used for dark. Well, even in those times when these things started circulating, okay, if someone got a hold of like an old newspaper and they could read it and it said that there was a war going on in whatever place or whatever it said, okay, I'm just using that as an example. What then happened to the place where that person was in their heart and in their frequency and in their realm? See, it was now influenced by outside information that actually was not necessarily impacting their life, okay? Now, I'm not saying this to mean that we need to live with our head in the sand. That's not what I mean. But I want you to just kind of understand how a simple life could have been lived back then without any awareness of anything going on anywhere else. And how did that impact the collectives of the communities throughout the world that were not connected to other programs, okay? And when you start looking at every city, especially major cities, as their own kind of realm, and that's how Spirit shows that to me, they're like their own realm, then you'll realize that each place has its own portal, each place has its own vibe, each place has its own culture, each place has its own information, okay? Duality being in each of those places. And then what you plug into then begins to connect you with that grid, okay? Now, when you bring that back to hypno, if I benefit in some way, me or anyone, from the collective thinking one thing, especially if there's an attempt to control the collective, and there always has been, okay? Then what kinds of things would I put into their mind in that 20 seconds, okay, to get them where I want them to be? You understand? See, this is the beautiful and crazy thing about the duality of everything. So as a human, you are the most advanced divine technology, if you want to call it that. You are like the most beautiful, advanced, organic avatar for your soul, okay? And your attention, what you put your attention on, is super important, and it is very powerful, okay? So that is why this is really an information, I don't want to call it warfare, but it is not about physical stuff. This is about who's got control of the minds, okay? And if you start thinking about yourself as being able to project a reality, just like a 3D printer or like a projector can put something up on a screen, okay? Think about even what you learned in science as a child about how light enters the eye and then reflects back out. And this is what actually determines what we think we see in the mind. You guys, it's also scientific too, right? Then you can start to understand why there is this great attempt to control the projector of humanity, all of us, okay? So in my class, we talked about this a little bit, about how the fact that a person can go into trance so easily is both good and bad, right? Because most people don't even know they're in trance, right? So if you're watching a commercial that's telling you that you need to buy a certain detergent, or you need to eat at a certain restaurant, or you need to wear a certain type of clothing, or you got to get this certain kind of shoe, within 20 seconds, you're very impressionable at 20 seconds. Sometimes less, like I said. Doesn't that make you want to turn your TV off? Okay, put your phone down. So be mindful of that. I am telling you that from the perspective of being a teacher and practitioner of hypnosis. Okay, this is why when we teach this class, we only teach it to those who have the right intention to heal humanity, to help. This is why we screen our students. We don't teach this to just everyone. And spiritually speaking, this is a rite of passage. Okay, we are facilitators. This is a very much very similar to the work of a shaman. Okay, because we help a person witness their trauma sometimes, witness their darkness. We help clear these things off of the body. You know, it's very spiritual, sacred work. It just is. Even a clinician, even when they do it on the medical side, okay? You're helping the person face something very difficult for them, and you're clearing it from the field of their mind and their auric field and their energetic and emotional body, okay? So it can be used in such a beautiful way, which is what makes it wonderful. But I want you to know how easy it is, because it can also be used and is being used to influence the collective, okay? So you really, really just have to be very, this is why going inward is so important. This is why I'm always saying this, and I know I'm not the only spiritual teacher saying this. It's being said all over the world. Go in, you guys. Go in, because when you do that and you stop taking the influence from the outside, okay, and start really channeling yourself, okay, your soul, your source connection to God, this is a game changer. This is why we are really, things are changing here, and it's going to be for the better, and I feel the good. I feel it. I feel it so strong. We are really at such an important time, and much progress is being made, okay? But tipping the scale on where you put your mind and your energy and your heart is going to push it even further into the positive, okay? If you want more interactions with like ETs and interdimensionals, and you want to see more magical things happen, and you want to see peace on earth, and you want to see like sovereignty for all people and just all the good, get control of your mind, okay? Mother Mary tells me this all the time, and I say Mother Mary with you understanding that Mother Mary is way more than we were ever taught she was in the religious sense, okay? She was and is a powerful teacher and a powerful mystic in all of her incarnations, okay? And she is one of my teachers, and she always tells me, and I channeled a very specific message from her a couple years ago to a group class that I was teaching, where she just literally kept saying, mind your mind, mind your mind, mind your mind. Get control of your thoughts. And that can go anywhere, in any direction. Don't be influenced by what you're being pushed to fear, okay? Don't be influenced by the false narratives. 333, as I said that. Also, don't self-harm with thoughts, okay? Like not thinking good of yourself, or criticizing yourself, or being overly critical. Is that really your voice? Or is it perhaps the influence of something trying to dampen your light? Okay? So this is something, it's a simple teaching that she has shown me and shown many of my students through channeling, but it's a very profound teaching, okay? When you start to recognize that thoughts become things, you'll understand why Mother Mary keeps saying, mind your mind, okay? And why she came in her mystic side with me, the Egyptian side, right? And the water priestess and all that, okay? Why it was really, really important for me to discover the womb and the rites of passage and all of the things that she has taught me, and Mary Magdalene, okay? Is because that sacred work is what is going to liberate humanity, okay? So just, I feel so good about saying that, because I feel like we're ready, okay? We're ready for the good stuff. So I just, take what you want from that message, from a very seasoned hypnosis practitioner. I have seen miracles come from this technique. I have seen that you can heal your own body using this technique. And that's proof right there that it manifests into the physical realm. Okay? When somebody walks away from a session without pain anymore, or without whatever issue they were facing, okay, that session brought through what needed to happen in this physical realm, okay? And I'm pointing at my bed because this is where I do my sessions. But same thing, if you go into trance because you're just watching whatever's coming up on your screen, okay, or whatever's popping up on the news, or whatever somebody's telling you, okay, I need you to stop doing that. I need you to pull yourself out, okay? Just pretend that you are just observing, that you're not part of it, okay? I need you to become almost removed from it, and then you'll start seeing the subliminals and the suggestives and all the things that have been planted into that material to try to put a weed in your garden, okay? Don't do that. Don't let it happen, okay? Start going in. Go in. You can trust yourself, okay? What did God tell us? The kingdom is within us. The kingdom is within us, okay? This is why Yeshua taught this. So go within and really get to the root of things, and you're going to start seeing a huge difference in your life. Huge, you guys, okay? This is when you start jumping timelines and making big changes frequency-wise, and you start seeing your dreams come true, okay? So I'm saying this from a place of love for you and all of the collective of humanity. And you are very loved, okay? You are loved by the higher realms, okay? They're nurturing and watering us, the garden of humanity, with all of their insight and wisdom, and we have great potential, okay? And this is a really, really cool time to do this because of 3i Atlas and all the cosmic bodies that are helping right now, okay? There is a lot of cosmic support for our growth. So let's not waste this time focused on the negative. It doesn't mean that we don't know that things are going on. That's not the point. We just don't want to be part of the creation of those negative things. Okay? And part of that means we got to start letting go of ideas and concepts that may not really be our own, that may be because of subliminals. So don't be afraid to go deep and ask God to help you let go of anything that's not you. And just watch what happens when he starts peeling this onion back. Okay? So I love you guys. I hope this helps. And you can do this.